Welcome, friends. I woke up this morning deciding that I wanted to have beef stroganoff for dinner. And this obviously is not a beef stroganoff recipe video. That will appear somewhere around us. And what I really like to have with beef stroganoff is a very hearty sort of bread, rustic bread. And I really should have started that yesterday, but I didn't. So I've got about 6 hours until I need to get this bread out of the oven in time to have it for supper. And even on the best day, I am not a very good bread baker. So wish me luck. I'm going to start out, I put salt in with my flour mixture, and I'm not endorsing this brand, but I'm using their multi-grain bread flour, and it's a mix of white bread flour and whole wheat bread flour, flaxseed, wheat germ, whole bunch of different things in there. What else is in there? Cracked wheat, oh, and rye. So I'm not endorsing it, but I'm using it, and you can make up your own mixture at home very easily. Next in is sourdough starter, and I'm using a stiff starter. This is, or what's called a stiff starter. It's 50% hydration. So for every cup of flour, I'm using half a cup of water. And so I'm going to take out about what I need. I'm going to measure out, I need 100 grams and I got 99. I think I'm going to stand pat with 99 grams. So into this bowl, I probably should have measured it directly into this bowl, but you know, I'm not a bread master. Next in is room temperature water. I'm going to put that in, and I'm just going to whisk these two together. Because I'm using a stiff starter, this just distributes it better in the final mix. And you don't have to completely dissolve it, just, you know, most of the way. Now, no ceremony, in goes the flour. Use your hands, probably the best tool, but because I'm working with the camera and I've got a whole bunch of other things going on, I'm going to use a spatula. And you pretty much just mix this into a ragged dough. And that's it. You don't have to mix it too much, just sort of a ragged dough ball. And I'm going to cover it. And the first rise, anywhere between a half an hour to an hour. It's just about 30 degrees Celsius here in the studio today. I've got the heat cranked because it is freezing outside. So I'll come back to this, I'll check it in about a half an hour, and then I'll sort of judge how far to go from there. Bread is more of an art than a science, so a lot of things aren't quite exact. Remember that. So we're about an hour in, not a whole lot of activity yet, but I'm still going to start the folding process. And so that's fold. I'm just using a spatula. You could use your hands. And you just go around and you fold it in anywhere 6 to 8 times. And now that I'm talking to you, of course, I have totally lost track. I'm going to say that's enough. So that's it, an hour, fold, lid back on, and we'll wait another hour. Great. So another hour has gone by, and it's time to turn this out onto the countertop. So flour the countertop, and you can see the mix of different things in this flour mixture. Let's see. This is wet and right at the edge of my personal ability to deal with it. So, a little bit of flour on top, a little bit of flour on my hands, and we pat this out. Now here's the thing. What I've learned, and I haven't actually been able to do, is you need to move decisively. So you lift it over, and it's going to stick to the table. Lift it over. Fold it in. Fold it in. Now the folding is a combination of shaping it, and also it's a way to improve the gluten structure. I've had it explained to me dozens of times how it actually works, and I've had at least 6 different explanations. Some of them conflicting, so I'm not going to repeat any of them other than to say it helps with gluten development. So at this point, I have here a Benetton, which is essentially a wooden basket, cane basket. It's got flour inside, and the idea is that we want to get this dough into the basket, seam side down, and I'm going to cover it in a couche, which is just a fancy French word for floured linen tablecloth or tea towel, and sit this aside for another couple hours. So it doesn't look too bad. Definitely would have risen more if I'd allowed it to ferment overnight. I just don't have the time today. The oven is preheated to 475 or 480 degrees, and all of the recipes tell you somewhere between a half an hour and an hour to preheat the oven with your Dutch oven inside, and that is incredibly important. Making sure that everything is hot and ready to go is key to making this type of bread work. So, out with the Dutch oven. And if you have a French cloche, that would be, you're miles ahead at that point. Now, this is super hot. I put a little bit of flour in the bottom. Don't know why, that's just what I learned. And then you flip this over. Whew. Now the idea is that we put this in seam side down, so the seam side is now up. But you still should try to cut it open with a lom, which, you know, I've never really gotten good at. Put the lid on and back in the oven for half an hour. So it's really busy here in the kitchen. I've got a couple things going all at once. I am making, and I've just got it ready, the caramel for Millionaire Squares, Millionaire Bars, Millionaire Shortbread. And it's also time to pull the lid off of the Dutch oven for the bread. So I'm going to pull that off now as well. Woo. Okay, so when you take the lid off, the bread is essentially baked. Over the next 5 to 10 minutes, you're just sort of watching it so that it reaches the right level of brownie crispiness on the outside that you like. So keep an eye on it. Keep a close eye on it. Take a look for the Millionaire's Bar recipe. And if you're watching Millionaire's Bar recipe, take a look for the bread recipe. And I'm running out of time because I've got to get the beef stroganoff on the stove before Julie gets off work. I'm going to say it's ready to go. Woo, that is ready. Okay, so without burning myself too bad, let's see if I can get it out. Oh, it comes out pretty easy. There we go. Now, you have to let that cool completely before you cut it open. If you cut it open too early, you'll allow too much of the steam to escape, and the bread's just not going to have the right texture. So you have to resist the urge, because really what I want to do right now is cut into that and have some. There's nothing I love more than steaming hot bread out of the oven, even though I know it's wrong. So patience. Patience is your friend at this point. I don't know if the mic will pick this up, but you can hear it cracking as it cools. Really great. So what do you think?
It looks pretty good. It smells good.
Good looking piece of bread. Let's come on, keep cutting.
No, I don't recall you starting bread yesterday. So
I didn't.
It's very seedy too.
I didn't. I woke up this morning and decided I was going to make beef stroganoff. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what I really want is a nice hearty, dark brown sourdough bread. Oh, yeah, I should test it before I put the butter on. And so I thought, I'm not going to have time. But I plowed through, and that's about 6 hours.
It's got really good texture.
So it probably would have benefited on the flavor side from an overnight in the fridge to get that sourdough
I was
flavor
going to say,
to develop.
it doesn't have that strong sourdough flavor to it.
Yeah, but from a texture standpoint and just an overall flavor standpoint,
Oh.
that is,
It's a nice rustic bread.
it's a nice rustic bread. It's better than anything we would have gotten at the grocery store today, for the most part. Unless, well, I mean, there are those $8 loaves that you can buy at the grocery store. They're pretty nice. But that, so you can make it all in one day. Worked it really well, I think.
I like it.
Yeah.
You also said there's some food to go with this, though.
We're gonna have beef stroganoff in a second.
Okay.
So come on back and check out the beef stroganoff. I also made millionaire bars today.
Oh.
So all of those recipes will be linked around us. And give this bread a try. And you know what? You don't even have to, it's not just a Dutch oven bread. I could have cooked that loaf in the wood-fired oven, and we'll do that shortly as well.